the big news this week was pretty well out of nowhere as far as I was concerned. I don't know about you guys, but Playground Games, they make Forza Horizon. They are their track record so far is unbelievable. It's 3 games, 3 Forza Horizon games. I think they've never gotten less than a 9 from IGN on any of those 3. And in fact, Horizon 3 got a 9.5, a Game of the Year nomination. Well deserved. I know, Alana, you're like me, a big fan of the Horizon
their games just
series.
keep getting better. It's crazy.
But they've got a second studio that they're ramping up and a second project, just codenamed Project 2. And it's an open world game, but it's not a racing game, which was just curious, right? I wouldn't. It's not like, oh my God, that's terrible, or wow, that's incredible. It's just sort of like, oh, that's interesting.
So one thing that I wanted to point out early that I find to be an interesting distinction is like, would we consider games that are open world but have like very interesting like for instance the Mad Max game? Would you call that a racing game?
No.
So does this game still have cars? You think?
Maybe.
I would bet money this game has cars.
Yeah, there's a difference between a car game and a racing game for sure. It could be something a lot more arcadey. Mad Max is kind of a good point that you use a car most of the time.
Or Grand Theft Auto, for that matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Or there's car combat, that kind of stuff. I read that and I was like, oh, not a car game. And then I was like, wait, why does that mean there can't be? I mean, not a racing game. Why does that mean there can't be cars? This is a car developer. They've made games that kind of have a lot of these mechanics based around those types of
but I mean,
things.
But if they're opening up a second studio, that means staffing up and not necessarily staffing up with folks who worked on racing games in the past.
True.
I mean, I do think there will be cars in the game, but yeah.
Yeah, so Ralph Fulton, the ever humble leader and co-founder of the studio, who I've met on a number of occasions, including, we revealed Forza Horizon 2, which was the very first IGN first, which I'll always remember fondly. I got to go out to that studio and then have jet lag hit me like right in the middle of the day. I was just
that's
like,
in the UK.
Oh, yeah. Royal Leamington Spa, about an hour and a half north of London.
So damn fancy.
Apparently, that's where the royalty used to go and escape to. That's why it's
Royal Leamington Spa.
Yes.
The royalty used to go and inbreed.
They're building.
Oh, yes.
So Playground's building is awesome. It's an old English manor that's been converted into a dev studio.
That's dope.
It's a really sweet building, one of the cooler dev studios I've seen. But Ralph saying, quote, pardon me, no, he didn't say cough. Quote, we feel like we've become pretty good at racing games over the years, in the biggest understatement of the decade.
Debatable.
We can always get better. We can always strive to get better, but we'd love to prove ourselves in a different genre. That's another goal of Project 2 to allow us to do that. We're going to need to hire some very talented people with experience that we don't have. Ralph does note that they will not be leaving Forza behind. This is not in replacement to Horizon or the Forza franchise in general. He says, our business with Forza over the last 6-7 years has been great for us. It remains the cornerstone of our business. We're not running away from racing. Shouldn't he have said driving away from racing? Yeah. We still feel passionate about making new racing games and delivering new experiences for our players.
Thinking about like the tech that they had in Forza Horizon 3, like the blueprints are a really impressive thing. Obviously, drivatars are a really impressive thing. And I think the festivals and the way that they work is pretty cool too. I wonder if there's a different kind of genre they can incorporate.
I think that's totally true.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because there are important, before Xbox fans start sort of fantasizing about what Playground could do in an open world non-racing game with all that stuff, you've got to remember there's a key thing here that I think a lot of people don't know. Playground isn't owned by Microsoft. They are an independent studio. It's effectively a second-party relationship, same way as like Retro with Nintendo, and that means all the Forza Horizon code base that they share a tech pipeline with Turn 10. So it's the same underlying Forza engine, and with Horizon it's open world and they go to 30 frames for the bigger scope. For Motorsport, it's 60 and they go track racing, but it's the same underlying tech. That's why when one got weather, the other got weather, etc. So that's all Microsoft property. So they're not going to be able to use that stuff.
So they couldn't get drivatars then either.
Unless this game does end up being a Microsoft first-party exclusive. If Microsoft just signs them up for this as well, then sure, then they could totally use all of that.
I kind of assumed that they would, but then we probably would have had a quote from someone other than just Ralph Fulton, right? Like maybe then Xbox would have said something, or they would have said it was exclusive.
Well, apparently GI.biz sort of got the scoop on this, and I wonder if they were even sort of ready to to let this cat out of the bag. They went ahead and, Ralph gave a quote, but the other thing too, I mean, it's he said, I didn't read the rest of his quotes, but it's still so early in this, they're still staffing up that I'm sure they're not even ready to announce
Won't see it for
the
years.
platform or any of that stuff. So
I still bet you it's multi-platform though. Like if you're a dev, sure you have a good business relationship with Microsoft,
Yeah.
a great like partnership with them, but like the potential to put your game on multiple platforms, and with one of the other platforms that isn't Microsoft being the bigger one out there amongst console gamers, like it seems like a big missed opportunity in terms of just revenue. Like if you want to build a new studio, a whole new team of people, like it's a safer bet business-wise to put it on multiple.
Yeah,
I-
unless there's a big contract with Microsoft.
Exactly.
Like with Kojima and
Sony.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I agree completely with you, Sean, because I wrote down that exact thing. As you're, from the last numbers, the ballpark numbers we had. Oh wait, not this. It's on that first page somewhere. You're looking at if you make the game multi-platform, you're looking at 80 or so million console players to sell it to versus 30.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a huge difference.
So I'm not saying it's impossible, right? Like you mentioned, Microsoft could be like, well, we'll give you all this extra support, all this extra, like maybe, access to proprietary tech featured during E3 conferences, like, front page placement on the dashboard, all this stuff that could help you market the game better to that 30 million. But it's a big number to make up. That's all.
Well, isn't it Play Anywhere though?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not
So
counting.
it's
I'm just
also on PC.
counting console
Yeah.
because there's about roughly 50-something million PS4s in the world and mid 30-something million Xbox One. So you sell if you're multi-platform, you can sell to all of those
Yeah, sure.
versus just the 30-something million on the Xbox side, and then of course you've still got all the PC stuff.
I think this would be a Switch game. No, I don't. I don't think it's gonna be a Switch game.
Yeah, I think you might be wrong about that.
At this point, I wish everything was a Switch game. It'd just be nice to have it.
Sure, Nintendo does too.
Love
But,
options.
the other possibility is, and I think this is unlikely. I think your multi-platform theory is correct, but we've seen Sony take every opportunity to stick the PR knife in Microsoft's back that they can. And what if Sony, swoops in, gets wind of this, and says, "Oh, let's make a better offer.
Ooh.
Let's sign this as a Sony game, just to tweak Microsoft a little bit."
My immediate thought was that they would do the marketing thing at E3 where you see it at all their conference. I don't know that Playground would agree to having it as an exclusive because that could hurt an existing relationship.
Again,
But if the
that's a
offer,
fair point. Actually,
you're right. But if the offer's right,
yeah.
But you look at someone like Insomniac developing Sunset Overdrive
That's
as
true.
Microsoft exclusive, and now Spider-Man as PlayStation exclusive.
Although Insomniac didn't necessarily have, well,
They
I
also
guess
have
they had
Oculus
more of it. They had a
exclusives.
Sony
They do a
history.
lot of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always, as much as gamers like us like to think about the appearances and politics of it. It is money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's Playground's going to do what's best for its business, and that's probably a multi-platform
and it's people,
situation.
You got to
Yes.
think they're building a whole new team here, so it's really important that you make sure that you're, at least in my mind, that you're giving those people security, the team security.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that would be a real kind of M. Night Shyamalan twist if they ended up making a Sony exclusive. Just because, like, on the Sony's part, that would be a real expensive way to poke Microsoft,
It would
You're
cost
right.
a lot of money.
They do like to poke people, or they do want to poke Microsoft when they can.
Stop saying the word poke.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm quite like poking Microsoft when you can.
Okay. Stab, is that better? That's what Ryan used.
That is actually significantly better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much better
Thank
than
you.
poke.
Graphic.
Yeah.
Why is poke so bad?
Because I'm thinking
Because she's talking about
banging.
It's a sex
wieners.
thing.
Oh. Well,
Oh, dang.
What did you expect from us, Sean?
I don't know. I remember it being like a Facebook thing.
What do you use Facebook
No, that
for?
was also a flirting thing. It was 100% a sex thing on Facebook too. You poked someone, it was like, yeah, he totally wants to.
You just changed his whole perspective on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't ever go on that.
You were
platform.
poking everyone.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I don't know. All I'm saying is I don't see Microsoft. I don't see Sony doing it. Sony is a troubled company right now. Not the games business. That's like their one lifeboat. I mean, Sony, the overall company. I don't know if you guys read about this. There was some crazy Hollywood Reporter article that that mentioned that Sony, as a company, is posting $1 billion loss this quarter.
That's not good.
Just this quarter.
Didn't they post a profit largely on the back of the PlayStation division last year?
Yeah,
as
the
I
Hollywood
recall?
Reporter article goes out of its way to be like, the one bright spot in Sony's business is this strong sales of this thing called PlayStation. Like, they spell it wrong and stuff. Like,
Really?
It's super funny. No, not quite, but they got the caps wrong.
Oh, no intercap?
The intercap.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's like, I still see mainstream media articles
I mean, Hollywood Reporter doesn't know that. Though, games business.
yeah, totally. Because I still see some outlets spell Xbox with a capital X and capital B.
Oh.
That's never been a thing ever.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get poked if you make all these.
It's just a noun. Like, at some point, I just want to tell that marketing with the way that a word is presented to just get out. Like the fact that Amiibo doesn't have an S on the end and is also always a lowercase
Oh, you
a.
mean
And, like,
watch
come
underscore
on.
dogs?
Yeah.
Hashtag Drive Club.
It's ridiculous.
We're 3 weeks away from communicating entirely in emojis anyway in this country, in this
I will
society.
resign from life.
That's.
Don't resign from life. We need you.
I was like, you can't do
value
that.
you.
And then I was like, oh wait, no, you can. Oh no.
Do that. Anyway, so yeah, going to be very, very interested to see whose E3 stage Ralph Fulton appears on next.
In 4 years.
Well, who knows?
It's probably not going to see that.
It depends. We don't know how long they've been working on it. They could have been prototyping something. I mean, odds are they've already. The thing is, they've almost certainly already got a deal in place with someone or multiple people.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of when it comes out, when it's announced, when it's made public in some fashion. So there you go. Playground Games growing and thriving, and I mean, obviously, whatever this is, I'm going to be very excited for it because their track record is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just phenomenal studio.